Hello everybody, I'm Michael Reed, counseling astrologer with over 20 years of experience in the astrological field, working with the Vedic system of astrology. If you're interested in scheduling a consultation with me, you can do so through the link that you'll see above in this video. And if you're also interested in learning more about the Nakshatras, which are the subject matter of this particular video series and this particular video itself, I do have an ongoing weekly class where we explore the secrets of each individual nakshatra one at a time. And you can join in on this class at any time you desire by visiting the link that you see above in this video. So this is the second part in a video series where I'm exploring how it is that nakshatras actually work. And we're exploring how nakshatras tie in with the evolution of the individual, right? And therefore trying to understand why it is that they create specific conditions in our life through our individual horoscope. In the first part of this series, we explored a little bit about Varuna, who is a key figure in Vedic mythology who's noted for having placed the stars in the firmament. And that's important in regard to nakshatras because nakshatras relate to the fixed stars. Varuna is also known to have created the difference between the skies and the earth. So he's known to have split those two asunder. So equally, he is responsible on a certain level for the concept of duality. And we're going to explore a little bit more about Varuna this particular week. Because Varuna in Vedic mythology was connected to several things over the, what's the phrase I want to use, the writings or things that are put down about this particular deity. First, he was connected with the skies, as we just mentioned, by, placing the stars in the sky, by creating the firmament and splitting earth and heaven asunder. He also was connected to the waters and equally to water creatures. So he's a deity that's connected to the oceans and to water itself. Then he was also connected with the concept of justice. What's right? What's fair? And by that particular connection, equally with the concept of cosmic order. Okay? And he was also connected with the concept of truth, which is the eventual understanding of this concept of cosmic order, right? So Varuna is a very vast deity, and we want to take a look at how the skies and the nakshatras in the sky and the waters, right? And what the waters are and how the ocean works, and justice and truth. We want to see how all of those tie in together. And you may have to be patient with me because this is going to take a few videos for us to get this particular point across. This particular video, we're going to go a little more into depth in exploring Varuna's connection as well to the sun and the moon. Varuna was also listed as one of the Adityas. And the Adityas were the sons of Aditi, the boundless cosmic mother, right? But the Adityas were also personalized representations of the sun, or deified representations of the sun. And this is important to understand, not only as it ties into astrology, but equally as it ties into what Varuna is all about, and also, of course, in understanding nakshatras and how they work. So the sun, astrologically, relates to the Atman. Atman is the soul, and there are at least a couple of different types of soul that are mainly talked about in Vedic philosophy. The two main ones are the Paratman, or the supreme soul, and the Jivatman, or the individual soul. Now, each individual in creation has both Paratman, the supreme soul in them, and Jivatman, the individual soul in them. Okay? So the sun relates to that concept of soul. Therefore, Varuna also relates to that concept of soul. So therefore, that aspect of Varuna that created duality, is also existent within us, because we all have a soul, and we all have that supreme soul, and we all have that individual soul. Okay? Then we want to talk about Varuna as being connected to the moon in somewhat of a roundabout way. Okay? But he's definitely connected to the moon. But let's understand what the moon is. So the sun is the Atman, or the soul of everything. The moon is the manas. It's our sensory mind. It's how we perceive things. Okay? Now, interestingly enough, when you read Brihat Parashara Horashastra, which is the fundamental text in Vedic astrology, the planets are listed as incarnations of Vishnu. And the incarnation of Vishnu that's connected to the moon is Krishna. Okay? So Krishna is connected to the moon. And I'm just reading from some text that I have here. So in addition to that, Krishna states that he, amongst water creatures, that he is Varuna. So Krishna states that he himself is also Varuna. Okay? So Varuna has a connection to Krishna. Krishna has a connection to the moon. So therefore, Varuna equally has a connection to the moon, or a connection to our sensory mind and how we perceive things, right? So Varuna being connected to the waters relates to the oceanic consciousness, oceanic consciousness of God in purity, right? The vastness of God, right? Oceans give us a really deep understanding of something that stretches out seemingly infinitely. And as we perceive them, sometimes they're still, and sometimes they're quite stormy, right? And it's interesting because it's the moon's gravitational pull on the earth, where we're all here incarnated, that stirs up the tides. Okay? So if you understand, Krishna is connected to the moon. Krishna says that he himself is Varuna, so Varuna is also the moon. So Varuna, as the moon, causes the tides to rise and causes the tides to subside, right? But there's always turbulence, with the ocean. It's always, at least a ripple, right? You'll see at least a ripple in the waves as we perceive them. Okay? The ultimate goal, which is something that we'll explore as we go on with these videos, is to have that vast expanse of ocean be completely still, clear, placid, and able to reflect the pure light of being. But we get caught up in the rises and falls and in the waxing and waning of the moon. We go through periods of growth and we go through periods of decay, always up and down, based upon the turbulence of our perception of our own innermost connection to our individual soul, primarily, and to the supreme soul, which is the ultimate goal. But our mind is so lost in the rising and falling of the tide that we get swept away in the torrent. We become confused. And we're meant to kind of ride that boat, right, amongst the tide. And we'll go into that further when we go into the next video. We're meant to ride that boat amongst the tide, go through those waves, go through those experiences, and learn how to eventually navigate our way home. Now, remember, the Nakshatras relate to Varuna, who's also cosmic order. The Nakshatras relate to Varuna, who's also the sense of justice in life. The Nakshatras also relate to the fixed stars, which Varuna placed in the sky, splitting, right, earth and heaven asunder, so that we go through an experience of of duality, right? That duality gives us the opportunity to experience the bliss of consciousness, to experience the bliss of self-realization, right? And to ultimately find our way home. Now, in part 3 of this video, we're going to explore a little bit further some of these sutras in the Rig Veda relating to Varuna, especially one that relates to a boat and being joined with Varuna on a boat, kind of navigating the sea, right? And remember, Varuna created the Nakshatras, right? So Varuna also creates the navigation system. That's what the Nakshatras are. They're the navigational system that helps you to find a sense of harmony and balance in your life. So we'll explore this a little bit further in the next video. We'll go a little bit further into Varuna. We'll go a little bit further into something called the Sutras from Taittiriya Brahmana. And eventually, over the course of this, I'm going to tie all of this in with a specific sutra from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali about the purpose of yoga and ultimately how the nakshatras help us to attain that final state. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about the nakshatras, as I mentioned before, I am holding a weekly webinar series on Friday evenings. If you're interested in registering for this particular course, you can find out more information about it at the link above. That's going to do it for part 2 of this video series. Looking forward to sharing part 3 with you. Until next time, please do take the very best care of yourself. Bye now.